What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. And as inflation is still at or near a 40-year high, and food inflation, the price of food, is actually at around all-time highs, both in the US and around the world. Year over year, we're seeing the most average prices of food up over 13%. Some prices of food much higher than that. We are still seeing some stimulus programs for a bunch of states that are providing extra food benefits here. We'll go over that here in this video. Uh, and we also are going to be seeing here later this month potentially a massive raise to food benefits, the SNAP program that goes out to over 40 million Americans. We also are hoping that they might make this eligible to more people here as well. We remember that we just had the presidential executive order that made student loan forgiveness available to over 43 million Americans. That was $10,000 to $20,000. There is talks that the Republicans might challenge President Biden's executive order, which could, I mean, we'll have to see if this might happen, but that could nix the $10,000 to $20,000 of student loan forgiveness for 43 million Americans, which would not be a good thing for those Americans. So hopefully that won't happen. But that's about 43 million Americans that are getting a massive stimulus program relief. And then later this month, the new SNAP conference is supposed to be held this month here in September. You can see the headline here, SNAP benefits not enough. Why the White House is holding a rare food insecurity conference this fall. Supposed to be happening here this month in September. And the last time they had this conference was when they actually created the SNAP program. Well, originally it was called the Food Stamp Program. Now it's called SNAP benefits. And over 40 million Americans get this, which is basically helps you pay for food. The problem with this is that a lot of people make low income but don't quite qualify for it. And then there's a lot of people that qualify for it but don't get that much money for it. They maybe only get $20 a month or $40 a month. And you see in the headline there, SNAP not enough. So maybe we will see a significant raise to this. Maybe we'll see more people become eligible for this, especially with the rising cost of food. This is another program that could be overhauled. And remember that the government right now, it has a lot of money on hand. I'll show you the article here from Bloomberg here. The U.S. budget gap narrowed by a record $1.7 trillion. So they have paid down the U.S. deficit by $1.7 trillion. The U.S. debt, the U.S. deficit has been paid down by $1.7 trillion because of the amount of money that is coming in to the federal government. This is because unemployment is at a 50-year low. There's millions of people that have gone back to work right now, and unemployment is currently at around 3.5%. So the federal government has a lot of money to work with right now, the most amount of money they've had to work with pretty much ever. Okay, this also the same thing is going on each state level. Pretty much every single state is also working with the most amount of money that they've ever had to work with, also because of low unemployment. We're also seeing state surpluses as well. Every single state has a massive surplus in addition to the state stimulus money. This is also why we're seeing massive stimulus checks from about half the states right now. And if you've been watching my channel, you've been seeing all the different, we're trying to cover all the different states, cities, and counties that are issuing stimulus checks to millions and millions of people here. It's about half the states right now, and it seems like as every week goes by, there's more and more states issuing this, and it's got to be over like 100 million people now at this point that are getting state stimulus checks, tax rebate checks, property tax rebate checks, renter rebate checks, stimulus checks, whatever you want to call them, because of one, the $350 billion that went out to states from the last stimulus package, which they can send out as stimulus checks, and also from the state budget surpluses, which is basically each state takes a certain amount of money that they need to run their state. And also, they're bringing in money from tax dollars. And even if your state doesn't have a tax, like a state tax, they're still bringing in money from like sales tax and other type of taxes as well. So every single state is running a surplus right now, and they all have extra money. Even like Florida, and I think both Florida and Texas both have no personal income tax rates, but they both have massive surpluses as well. I think I just seen that Florida had, what was it, $22 billion of surplus? Was that what we just seen here? The yesterday when Governor Ron DeSantis announced, yeah, Governor Ron DeSantis just promised, quote, by far the biggest tax cuts in the history of the state of Florida. And a lot of people are like, well, we don't have a state income tax. So this could actually mean a tax rebate check, also known as a stimulus check. So that could be coming here. Remember that he did actually just issue stimulus checks to a couple different groups of people, which went out to, you can see here, this went out in July and August, the end of July and August. Some Florida families with kids got a $450 per kid inflation relief check from Florida. Some Florida families set to receive a $450 per child to offset the impact of inflation. About 59,000 families will get the checks, which are one-time payments. Uh, Certain qualifications were being a foster parent, a caregiver, non-relative caregiver, or part of the TANF program or guardian assistance program. Also, Florida also previously sent out $1,000 stimulus checks to teachers, hundreds of thousands of teachers, and a $7,500 pay raise. So this is something they could do for the general population as well. And a lot of states that don't even have income tax can do this because they also have, like, states like Texas and states like Florida can do this. And the governor there just promised. It's weird he used the biggest tax cuts in the history of the state of Florida because they don't have a income tax. So I guess they could cut sales tax, um, but we'll have to see. Let me know what you think this is going to be here going forward. Governor Ron DeSantis also in the news here yesterday, suing the FDA in a push to import prescription drugs from Canada. I actually agree with him on this. Again, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. Sometimes I agree with one party or the other. In this case, he's suing the FDA for slow legging a being able to import prescription drugs from Canada because they're cheaper there. And I have long criticized the pharmaceutical industry and pharmaceutical companies, just like the oil industry and the college industry, because they literally just take advantage of us. So the pharmaceutical industry will make the exact same prescription drugs and sell it to countries like Canada and Mexico and countries in Europe, the exact same prescriptions, exact same brand names, and sell it to those countries for cheaper. So governors like Ron DeSantis want to, and governors all across the country want to import these prescriptions from Canada and other countries because they're the same prescriptions and they're cheaper. The United States just literally gets taken advantage of. That's why in the last in the Inflation Reduction Act, they did finally pass some pieces of being able to negotiate prescription drugs in the future. Remember, all the Republicans voted no actually on that, and the Democrats passed that on their own. So at least they were able to get something passed. But the problem here is the pharmaceutical industry, just like the oil industry, they just got a stranglehold on a lot of the congressmen. And it's hard to get a lot of things done in Congress. But nonetheless, this is another way to do things is you can see here Florida Governor Ron Desantis announced Wednesday that he has filed a lawsuit against the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, claiming the federal agency has unlawfully delayed approval of the state program that would allow the state to import prescription drugs from Canada to lower medication costs for Floridians. This really should be able to be done for the whole country as long as they meet U.S. standards. DeSantis said that the FDA has violated federal law by dragging out the approval of the Canadian Prescription Drug Importation Program, which he first requested approval for in November 2020. So way back then, this is right after the election, it looks like. He says, quote, "It's our view that we've waited long enough," he says at a press conference announcing the lawsuit. "The clock's been ticking. We have a right to know what the FDA has been doing the last 2 years to ensure whether they are putting politics over patients or putting the interests of big pharma over the interests of average Floridians." And I have to agree with him there. Prescription drug costs carry abnormally high costs in the US, higher than any other country in the world. Although the recently passed Inflation Reduction Act does allow Medicare to negotiate the prices of drugs and cap out-of-pocket costs for medications at $2,000 a year starting in 2025. And it's a shame that it's not going to go into effect till then. I think in 2024, it also goes into effect at a reduced amount as well. The first phase of Florida's program includes importing drugs used to treat HIV, diabetes, hepatitis C, and mental illness. The governor's office estimates that Floridians would save $150 million annually under the program. But a 1987 law known as the Prescription Drug Marketing Act prohibits anyone but the pharmaceutical manufacturer from importing drugs from outside the country unless the Department of Health and Human Services specifically approves it. Former President Trump signed an executive order in 2020 to import some prescription drugs from Canada, but the nation's health agency later that year, also in 2020, blocked bulk exports, warning of shortages. In July 2021, Biden issued an executive order directing the FDA to work with states on the drug approval process, but it's been slow going. Meanwhile, Americans get the short end of the stick either way. The pharmaceutical company they just get to make away with billions and billions of dollars of our money one way or another. Even if you don't take any pharmaceutical prescription drugs, you're paying for it one way or another in your premiums. If you're paying for that Medicare Part B, $170 a month, a large part of that is because of the high cost of prescription drugs. So every year when that Medicare Part B goes up, they have confirmed that a large part of the increases and a large part of the $170 alone is because of how high the cost of prescription drugs are. And if you pay for health care, if it comes out of your paycheck at work, or if you pay for health care one way or another, just the monthly premiums, a large part of that is because of how high the cost of prescription drugs are. So one way or another, any way we can get these lowered would be a good thing for Americans. It'd be a bad thing for pharmaceutical companies, but they're making so many billions of dollars that I don't think that anybody is really worried about them too much. We have several states here in September that have already acknowledged extra bonus money here for SNAP food assistance emergency allotments. So this is bonus money on top of the normal SNAP food stamp assistance. Okay, and this is for September 2022. There could be more states added onto this as September's just getting started. So it doesn't mean that this is the full list. But here's the states that have already added on the additional money that is can be $95 per family. And here's the states that are already confirmed that they will be doing extra money for September 2022. Alabama, California, Colorado, Delaware, District of Columbia, Hawaii, Illinois, Kansas, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Virginia, Utah, Washington, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. We have had several states that have stopped these bonuses because they didn't want to pay for them anymore, which is sad. You know, sometimes it's all about the money, but all these states have a lot of extra money right now because of what we talked about earlier with their state surpluses. For August, you can see the month before, there was a lot of states that ultimately did do it for the month before. Like I said, September's just getting started here. So we could see a lot more. Here's all the states and territory, U.S. territories that did it for the month before. Alabama, Alaska, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Guam, Hawaii, Illinois, Kansas, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Virgin Islands, Washington, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. That was last month for August. Some of those actually get paid out in September because that's just the way they do things. Um, some of the states in September here are just confirming. So that is the current list right now. I'll keep you up to date on this. Also, we have the state guidance on pandemic EBT. Again, both of these are really because of the pandemic. This is really stimulus money. If it weren't for the pandemic, you can see, I mean, it's literally has the virus right in here. This is stimulus money. If it weren't for the virus, this stuff would not be going on here. So this is pandemic EBT money um, for school children. You can see here eligible school children receive temporary assistance nutrition benefits loaded on their EBT cards that are used to purchase school. Children who have received free or reduced price meal under the National School Lunch Act if their schools were not closed or operating with reduced hours or attendance for at least 5 consecutive days are eligible to receive pandemic EBT benefits. Pandemic EBT also provides benefits to younger children in households participating in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, whose covered child care facility is closed or operating with reduced hours or attendance, or live in the area of schools that are closed or operating with reduced hours or attendance. So this was for the summer of 2022. We have now this new school year starting. But as you can see here, there was a lot of states that did this for summer of 2022. A whole lot. Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Florida, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. What we might see for the new school year, I will keep you up to date with. And what other type of stimulus programs we might see here going forward, and what new food assistance we might see here with this new food assistance program going forward, I'll keep you up to date with as well. Other type of stimulus programs and state stimulus programs, federal assistance programs, and stimulus checks. I'll keep you up to date with. So make sure to click the subscribe button down below if you haven't yet, and click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live with new videos. New videos come out here every day on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can click here to watch my newest video next. And here is my new video about Social Security raises of $2,400. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.